Hello everyone, my name is George Farmer, also known as the Aquascaper, and today I'm going to be reviewing a CO2 test kit supplied by Aquarium Plant Food UK. So before we go into the actual review itself, let's have a little think about why we need to test for CO2. So CO2 injection is an incredibly popular way to increase plant growth rates in planted aquariums. Most aquascapers will inject CO2 or at least add a liquid carbon fertiliser. But CO2 gas injection does have risks. So CO2 is toxic to fish and invertebrates, in fact most life forms, and so we need to ensure that it's at a safe level, but we also need to ensure it's at a high enough level for the plants to really benefit. So we need to test for it. Now the old school way to test was to test your aquarium water pH using a pH test kit, and then also test your aquarium water KH using another test kit, and then using a CO2 pH KH table which you can find on the internet, cross-referring the pH and the KH values, you get a CO2 value, which is great and it kind of works, but it's not the most accurate way of doing it, and the reason for that is because the aquarium water will often contain other factors that will influence the pH of the water. So the pH KH CO2 table assumes that the only acids in the aquarium water are from the CO2, which creates carbonic acid. But in reality, there are a lot of other acids in the aquarium water, which are normally caused by decomposition of organic matter, things like that. So you've got humic acids, maybe nitric acids, and so that this skews the results if we're using that table. And so a few years ago they come up with this idea of using a drop checker. So it sits in the aquarium and it contains a special liquid which changes colour. And before I go into too much detail, I'll talk a little bit about the products in close-up, and then we can describe that in more detail soon. So let's take a closer look at the CO2 measuring kit. On the left we have the gush jet indicator, which we'll look at in a moment. Then we have the 4 degrees KH solution here in the larger bottle. Then we have the indicator solution on the right there. And then we have a syringe to add the solution into the jet indicator. So let's take a look at the gush jet indicator in more detail. Again, this is supplied by Aquarium Plant Food UK. Gush, I'm a big fan of Gush, really high quality glassware. I would say equal or nearly equal to that of ADA, but normally less expensive. So let's have a closer look. We're going to open up the box, well packaged as you can see. And I have been using this on an aquascape recently, so it does have a little bit of residue water in there. But hopefully you can see there that it's a lovely finish. The glass is a nice thick glass. Some of the cheaper CO2 drop checkers have a much thinner glass, making obviously it more prone to break. And this is an external type of CO2 drop checker. So this bit sits on the inside of the aquarium, and this bit sits on the outside. And the solution, which we're going to mix in a moment and add, will sit around here, and that will be a coloured solution, which will change colour according to the CO2 value in the water. And the way that works is the pH of the water will change according to the CO2 value. And so by using a pH reagent called bromethylene blue, we can determine roughly how much CO2 is in the aquarium water by the colour, which will range from a blue to a yellow. And ideally we want a nice lime green colour, which will indicate around about 30 parts per million. So I'll show you guys how I prepare my CO2 indicator solution. So first thing I'm going to do is add between ½ ml and 1 ml of the 4 degrees KH solution into the syringe, just by gently pouring it in. Okay, and we've got about 1 ml there. I'm just going to take a tiny bit out. Okay, that's around about okay. So we've got about ½ ml in there now, so that's great. I'm just keeping my finger over the end to stop it from leaking out of the bottom of the syringe. Now I'm just going to add 2 drops of the indicator solution. 1, 2, and then just give that a quick mix. And then we add just put the plunger in like so. And then just get the solution to the end of the syringe, and then we just pop that into the jet indicator. And there you can see it's a nice blue colour, which means obviously that there's hardly any CO2 in that solution. And I'm going to pop that into my planted aquarium in a moment, and then you'll see it gradually change from that blue colour through to a nice lime green colour, which indicates around about 30 parts per million. So here you can see the jet indicator fitted to the planted aquarium, and it's nearly at the right colour. It's not quite lime green. You do need to allow 2 to 3 hours usually for the colour to take full effect. So I've had it in there for about an hour and a half, so I guess in another half an hour or so that will hopefully turn the lime green colour that I'm after. The reason we do the lime green, as I say, is to get to the 30 parts per million, which usually is safe for most fish. Obviously fish welfare is paramount, so if you do see your fish starting to suffer from the symptoms of CO2 intoxication, then immediately turn down your CO2 levels and perform a large water change, and hopefully the fish will be fine. Okay, so that wraps it up for today's review of the CO2 Measuring Kit. You can get it from Aquarium Plant Food UK. I'll put the website address just below. And it retails for £22, which I think is really good value. So you get the jet indicator, which we've talked about, really good quality glassware. You get your indicator solution as well, and also your 4 degrees KH solution there, and a handy syringe. So definitely recommend this product if you're a planted tank enthusiast or aquascaper and you need to keep an eye on your CO2 levels. Then this is a really easy way and good value way to do that. Finally, if you are interested in CO2 in general, if you get the latest, well at the time of videoing, the latest practical fish keeping issue, which is the February 2016, I have a handy article in there which tells you all about CO2 kits and actually how to measure CO2 as well. So that's about it from me, guys. Thanks for watching. If you do like what you see, please hit that like button, share with your friends, and please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Keep on scaping. Cheers. Bye.